Welcome, and thank you for joining me for the next video of Learning How, Planning for Productive Skills. Now, if you remember, in the last video, we talked about how learners who are learning a new skill will begin to remember and internalize the skill. So in this video, we're going to continue that and look at what it looks like as they progress with their remembering and internalizing, and talk about how students work in the later remembering and internalizing stages. So, as you know, remembering means that students are practicing the new skill and developing their ability to recall it. And internalizing is as they continue practicing, deepening the ability to use and recall the new content or the new skill easily. So, you remember my yapingachos? I still love yapingachos. And as I progressed, as I kept practicing, I found that I was getting better. I made yapingachos a few more times and they tasted a lot better. I still had the recipe in my hand, but it was improving. I was remembering and internalizing the skill of making yapingachos. I had the recipe. I didn't need it as much as I needed it before. I got faster and faster at making them, and the yapingachos were much better. This is saying I was remembering and internalizing the skill, and as I remembered and internalized more and more, I was doing it better and more independently than before. So, in the classroom, what could this look like? You remember in our previous examples, we talked about the present perfect. So we're going to continue with that and thinking about the next thing that could happen in the remembering and internalizing process with the present perfect. And the thing I thought of is having students play a game called Find Someone Who. It's a mingle activity where they get a list of topics, but they have to generate their own questions and generate their own answers. And they move around the classroom talking to different partners, asking, "Have you ever?" And of course the partner responds. That's one example of what it can look like when a language learner is later in internalizing the use of the present perfect. We also talked about a slightly lower level class where students were learning adjectives to describe people. And as I thought about this one, I thought about a later remember and internalize activity where students could work in pairs, taking turns to describe celebrities. So they're creating their own descriptions with the people in their head. And when one describes, the other has to guess who is being described. So I want you to notice that as learners continue to remember and internalize, they're becoming more independent. They're making fewer errors, and they're using the language more easily and creatively. This is what we mean when we say that we get better with practice, that the students, as they get further into the process of remembering and internalizing, are using the language better and better. So this is a look at some things that can happen in the learning process as we move into remembering and internalizing. And thank you for joining me for this video. Now, if you can look down to the discussion forum at the bottom, you have some questions about what it's like to remember and internalize language content. Thank you very much for your time, and see you in the next video.